Ladies and gentlemen, today I am excited to share with you some great news with one of the stories we've been following closely at fightthefines.com.au. Watch it all the way through and share it far and wide, and then head over to fightthefines.com.au and see what other cases are still going on as we speak. fightthefines.com.au. Avi Mini for Rebel News in the southeast suburbs of Melbourne, here finally to give you some good news in the story with Nick Patterson. If you recall, late last year we were in court with Nick covering his story, where we even managed to confront the DHHS officer responsible for his charges. How you doing, sir? Are you confident you were lawfully a authorised officer, sir? Are you confident that it's going to be found you were lawfully an officer, an authorised officer?
Absolutely.
Well, Nick, you were convicted of that crime at the end. Tell us what's happened.
Yeah, so I was convicted of obstructing or hindering an authorised officer. The charges were laid by the police. I was convicted. I was fined. I had a great defence, and I really believe that the magistrate, it was a judicial registrar, that he just wasn't interested in my defence. So I applied for a judicial review in the Supreme Court. Now, we haven't had the review yet. That's on the 12th of May, but already I've had my first mention hearing, and the police solicitor has basically said the charges weren't valid anyway, and we're not going to offer any defence. So that's a win. So I've already won. So all of this vexatious prosecution from April 2020 all the way through to, we're talking 3 years, all of that for nothing. But I've had to go through this process. Actually, it's turning me into a bit of a weapon in the courts, because I'm learning how the system operates, how it works, so that now, if this ever happens again to somebody I know, I can help them as well. So the judicial review, that's scheduled for next month, and we've put a whole lot of submissions in there. I think we're going to get a good result as well, especially when they've already thrown out the charges. We haven't even had the review yet.
So for the viewers at home that don't understand this, what you're seeing on the screen now is the police themselves admitting that they got it wrong.
Yeah, it's interesting that, because it's like they would have been happy for me to be convicted and fined, and have a conviction for something that obviously, it wasn't a crime in the first place. And it's actually, it's not easy to do a judicial review. Like, it's a huge amount of paperwork, and if you don't have the funds and resources to fund it, pay somebody to do it, which would be very expensive, people just can't do this. So I could imagine many people probably in the magistrate's court get convicted of these kinds of offences. But if you have a good technical argument and you can prove that the law, has been mismanaged or they've mismanaged their powers, you can get a good result if you go to the Supreme Court.
How does it feel, this news?
Well, the letter was a good surprise, especially with everything about IBAC going through the news at the moment. Great result, and I hope that it comes to fruition in court as well.
Are you prouder of Nick back in lockdowns when he was standing up, or the fact that he's continued all the way through this long road and kept fighting?
He's definitely a bulldog when it comes to these kind of journeys. I think perhaps where many people would have given up or backed down, Nick's not that type of guy. But yeah, no, definitely proud of him that he's stuck to it, and we've gone through some tough journeys over the past few years, as a lot of people have. But I'm glad there was, didn't just give up at the first trial, second, all this. So yeah.
It's insane. Police waited for, like you said, they allowed you they dragged you through the courts. Well, first they fined you, then they dragged you through the courts for over 2 years. And then when you lost and you went to fight back on an appeal, essentially a judicial review in the Supreme Court, something that's out of most people's grasp, well, then they suddenly go, oh, no, we got it wrong. And I imagine that it's just going to go away, or at least that charge, and you're going to have that conviction overturned. Yeah. But we'll follow that closely like we have been the whole way through. Yeah. Again, remind the viewers, where can they find the updates more in depth about your fight? Because this is a small... Well, it's quite a big win, but it's a big win in the fact that it proves what you've been doing is right.
Is right, yeah.
but it's small in comparison with the fight you have ahead of you.
Yeah.
Where can people find the details for that?
Yeah, it's fightcorruptpolice.com, and the emphasis is on corrupt. It's not fight police, it's fightcorruptpolice.com.
So do they have to type it in as capital corrupt? No, I'm just...
No. And I'm on Telegram, so t.me/fightcorruptpolice. So yeah, this is a big win in that I have a big trial coming up for these alleged assault charges that you've been covering as well on the 1st of June. By winning this, it's less ammo for them to throw at me in the trial.
If this David versus Goliath battle, or Nick versus Dan, I guess, battle proves anything, it shows that if you stand up and fight, you can win. So make sure to like, comment, but most importantly, share it far and wide, because I guarantee you that no one in the mainstream media will tell this story, this victory, to the world, because it doesn't suit the narrative. And then head over to fightthefines.com.au. See all the other cases that are running as we speak, some through our campaign and others like Nick on their own. fightthefines.com.au.